What is up, everyone? We are back with another new episode of Smoke and Meteoras. I am your host, Marissa, and this episode I am joined by none other than W.L.D. Whole lot of dude, Crash. How you doing today, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's jump right on into this. I usually start these podcasts off with the same question every time, and I'm not going to do that anymore.
Oh boy.
We're going to switch it up.
Changing it up.
So let's go back to the very beginning, before wrestling was even in the picture. What kind of kid were you growing up?
Uh a weird mix of nerdy and sporty because I grew up playing like sports my whole life, but I also watched a lot of anime and played a lot of video games. Uh, I would be outside climbing trees and doing whatever I could out there, and then whenever it got dark, I'd come inside and play PlayStation or play Pokemon on my Game Boy. So it was just an odd mix.
So did you have a specific obsession before wrestling came into the picture?
Football for sure. I played football for 12 years, and then I coached for another three early on while I was just getting my toes a little wet in wrestling whenever I was first starting out in Kentucky.
All right. So what first grabbed you emotionally about wrestling?
The biggest thing for me, like that like really, like the thing that caught my attention was like the pageantry of it all. The costumes, the pyro, the music, just the entrances. Obviously, like as a kid, I stayed for the violence, so you don't get to see stuff like that too often. I mean, unless you watch anime like I did, they fight all the time. But like it's different because like these are real life people fighting on TV. Uh, and yeah, I grew up in the '90s, early 2000s, so like Stone Cold Steve Austin's my all time favorite. So seeing him give Vince McMahon a stunner and beat up his boss was like one of the coolest things ever. And I'm like, that's relatable, and I'm like 7. Like I don't know what it's like to have a job, but like it felt relatable to me.
So, was there a wrestler or a moment that finally made you decide you didn't want to be a fan anymore and you wanted to pursue wrestling?
Uh, Probably it was during the invasion angle. I can't remember exactly what Raw it was, but it was Vince McMahon spent the entire episode trying to recruit Stone Cold to be on like the good guys' side because ECW and WCW were teaming up to try to take out WWE, and like he just was like didn't want any part of it. Whatever. The entire episode, he leaves the venue. He's out at a bar drinking or whatever, and then the final like 10 minutes of the episode, he just like rolls up in his truck and just starts just mollywhopping everybody as soon as he gets through there. And the reaction of the crowd, the pop was unfathomable whenever his music hit, whenever he was coming out to the ring to like make the save while like all of his buddies in WWE were like getting jumped by the WCW and ECW guys and just stunners galore, and then you get like Kane and Undertaker choke slams, and it was just madness, and it was just it was just like one of the coolest things ever, just like how something like just something like that just turned the tide of the entire thing. And just the reaction of the people of how excited they were that Stone Cold was finally there to kick some ass.
So, would you say that wrestling felt like more of an escape, maybe a purpose or a community or something else for you?
Uh, I feel like a lot of people like have like different reasons and like multiple reasons to like that, like what drew them into wrestling. Uh, it's kind of I feel like it's definitely an escape, But I mean, it's an escape for everyone because as as a professional wrestler myself and like all the other wrestlers, whenever we go out there, we're going out there and we're entertaining people to help them forget the outside stuff that's making their week bad, or you know, we try to help them forget about it for 2 hours. But at the same time, while we're out there performing, we also get to forget about the stuff that's bringing us down and the things that are uh, hurting us, or just harshing our vibe, whatever it might be. But definitely, it also feels like uh, a purpose as well, because the only other thing that felt just so natural and easy to me, like just going out there and doing it, was playing football. And uh, you know, I couldn't be a professional wrestler when I'm like in third grade, so I was like, let's play football because like a lot of my favorite wrestlers at the time, they a lot of them used to play football, like both played football in college. At the time, Goldberg was one of my favorites. He played football. And Brock Lesnar used to play football, and Roman Reigns, the Usos, like all of those guys, like they all used to play football. And I'm like, that could be a way for me to eventually make my way through wrestling, but I'm at least going to pursue this first because I love it. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm gonna just do everything I can to try to take it as far as I can. So, definitely football was a purpose, but then that kind of ran its course and then rerouted and found wrestling as the new purpose after that.
So, would you say that you were naturally confident growing up, or was it something that you had to build over time?
I think that just like thinking about whenever I was a kid, uh, whenever it came to like performing or playing a sport, football or basketball or whatever, or even just playing pickup basketball, not even like for like the school team or anything like that. Uh, I had confidence in my abilities, no matter who I was lining up or going against, no matter what. Uh, it wasn't until I started doing a little bit of coaching where the act of like really speaking in front of people like that, all like that always kind of I got like a little bit embarrassed about it whenever I was younger. Which being a teenager, public speaking is like terrifying to most teenagers. You have a few people that are like, oh, they're just into it immediately and they're good to go. Like I could do it, but you could tell my face would get red, and I'm like I'm uncomfortable, but I'm powering through it. But like the 3 years that I spent coaching football, high school and middle school, and having to give those pregame speeches or in the locker room speeches at halftime and trying to motivate the players and everything like that, I didn't have a piece of paper to look at a script of like what I'm going to say, because like football and just sports in general are so unpredictable. So I can't just have a makeshift ready script for different circumstances. So it was always just that helped me a lot, like being able to come up with things off the top of my head to try to like get out there to help convey an emotion, to try to get a reaction out of at that time my players, to get them excited if we were losing, or to or anything what might have been the situation that we were in at the time, or if it's the pregame, get them hyped up, get them excited or whatever, get them to forget about the math test they didn't do so well earlier that day on, or anything like that, or they got rejected by the girl they liked or whatever it might have been. Just it's kind of goes hand in hand, like with wrestling, helping people forget the bullshit on the outside of it and just go out there and do what you do best and do it as good as you possibly can. And if all else fails, at least you gave it your all, because you can't fault someone for giving it 110% whenever they're at least like trying their best.
All right, so let's get a little bit more into identity in wrestling. So
Mhm.
before there was W.L.D. Crash, there was Crash Jaxon, and that is
Mhm.
how I was introduced to you. But was there any more names before that, or did you originally debut as Crash Jaxon?
There was one other time in my first ever match that I had one other name, and that was the Golden Tank Rex Howard, and I did not come up with that at all. The small independent promotion that I had started working for whenever I first broke into the business in Eastern Kentucky, the promoter's wife was also the ring announcer, and I wasn't supposed to have a match that night that I had my first match. Um, there were several people who canceled or just didn't show up or whatever. And so like there were only four guys that were there that were on the normal roster, and then one of them had a valet, and then there were two trainees, myself and my roommate Gary at the time. We were the two trainees, but in Kentucky you have to have a license to uh, like perform. Uh, and so like we had submitted our stuff to the commission to get it approved and stuff, but we had already been like training and stuff like before shows or whatever, because that particular promotion didn't have like a school attached to it or anything like that. So we were kind of doing very old school, show up, help set up, and get an hour or two before the show to like roll around and bump in the ring and try to learn something new that day. Uh, and just so happens my license was already good to go online, saying that it was active, but my roommates wasn't. So they were like, "Hey, you got any gear?" I'm like, "No." We are 6 months into training, and that was one training session a month because they only ran once a month. And so, like, I had maybe a total of 12 hours of training throughout that entire month, or throughout the entire that 6 months
Oh,
of getting about 2 hours before every show. And I mean, it wasn't the worst, but also I have seen a lot of younger kids now, especially like a lot of the kids coming out of the Pile Driver Wrestling Academy uh, here in the Dayton area. A lot of those guys, their first matches just make mine look like a pile of dog poop. But also, like they're starting out, their training is a lot higher tier than what mine was. So, but it's just one of those things where everyone like has like their own story, their own path. But I've completely got off on a tangent. Forgot what the original question was.
that's that answered it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was about other names. Other names.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The I hadn't come up with a name or anything yet like that, and then the promoter's wife, who is the ring announcer, she just came up with that herself. And the funny thing was, I wasn't wearing anything gold. I was wearing like a red and white, a singlet that I had borrowed from the guy that I was getting ready to wrestle. Uh, and he wrestled under like two different like characters because he had one under a mask and one unmasked. So like him and a couple of the other guys, they ended up like wrestling like three times on that show because there was always shenanigans happening at the end of each other's matches. So then none of the matches ever finished, and it ended up the main event was like a four-way between the four regular guys because they kept messing with each other during their matches, and it was a cluster, but we made it work and got through it. And the 20 people that were there, they were seems like they were excited for it.
So going back to Crash Jackson, how much of that version of your character was authentically you?
uh, Pretty much all of it. Uh, I was taught whenever I moved to Ohio uh, to get kind of retrained and learn some new things to you don't fake the funk. Because basically I used to like say that I was from Gainesville, Florida, but I was being like very bro-ish about it, like Gainesville, like a flexing and all that stuff or whatever. Uh, but like I don't talk like I'm from Florida. Like I don't know anything about Florida, but thankfully no one ever asked me about it. Uh, but I had heard stories of people claiming to be from places or one thing or another, and then fans coming up to them and then like, oh, I'm from there. Where did you grow up in whatever area it was? And they're just like, they're so like I learned really quickly after I moved to Ohio to like just be as authentic as you can. Uh, don't fake the funk because people will call you out on it. And if you are going to fake it, you better be able to back it up.
So, what parts of yourself did you exaggerate for your character?
Um, honestly, for a lot of people that know me in real life, I'm pretty. It's pretty on. It's pretty on. I might be just a little bit louder. Uh, I will say though, when I'm at a show and I'm with fans, I'm with the boys, whatever, I'm yapping. I talk a lot. But like whenever I'm at home or if I go out to the grocery store or whatever, I ch- I don't want to I don't want to speak to anybody. I don't want to be bothered. Uh, like at the regular job, like I'll if I can go the entire shift without having to speak to anybody, I'd be perfectly okay with that. Uh, like I'll just put my AirPod in and just just jam out to whatever and just do my work and then get out of there and go to the gym and then come home and hang out with my cats.
I work in a kitchen. I don't have that luxury. I have to talk to people.
Well, I work in a like a warehouse like setting, driving a forklift. Uh, most conversations I have is usually with my supervisor, and that's just for him to tell me what like what door I need to go to for my like next task of work that I need to do. Uh, occasionally, like there's some guys and girls at work that I like chat with or whatever, but it wouldn't affect me at all if like no one spoke to me. So like I've in my older as I've gotten older, I've definitely became more introverted for sure, especially like because like going to shows and being a wrestler is so socially draining and exhausting and like not in a bad way, just putting a lot of energy towards being personable with everybody that I meet and speak to at shows, whether it's fans or the other wrestlers or promoters or just anybody anywhere. Like on show day, as soon as I walk out the door to leave the house, I'm on. I am Crash. So and then it's like that until I get home and walk through the door. So yeah, so it being like that, it kind of gets exhausting, but like in the best way.
So, looking back now, what do you appreciate most about that version of yourself, and what did that character teach you?
Um, taught me patience. That's one thing. Uh, because younger me was so like wound up in like, oh, I got to get a contract. I got to get a contract. I got to go overseas. I got to do international stuff. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then, Sammy kind of like beat it into my head. He's like, dude, chill. Like, enjoy this, enjoy the journey because like, like your goals, you will get there, you will get them, but like enjoy getting there because like once you get there, if that's like your only focus, then what? So
And
then like that's just kind of like okay, yeah, you're right. Usually whenever Sammy gives me some sort of like sage wisdom in any capacity, whether it's regarding my character, my gear, music, whatever it might be, it usually lands. And I'm sure a lot of people that he's like mentored in any way could probably agree with me on that because he's had a helping hand in a lot of people's like careers, especially like a lot of top people that are on TV right now.
And speaking of Sammy, the giveaway 8x10 for this episode is a signed 8x10 of
Ooh,
Sammy Callahan with the
nice,
impact title too. So it
nice.
also is high spot certed on the back, so you know it's legit. All you have to do is comment the code word crash from whatever platform you are watching from, and you will be entered into that giveaway. But moving right along, at what point did you realize something needed to change?
Um, I'm assuming you're regarding like with the name
With the
change.
name change, yes.
Okay. I was like, what else did I change? Uh, Whenever I first got into wrestling, I always wanted to just kind of like have like a single word name like Rhino Goldberg, that sort of thing. But like the older guys that I was around at the time, he was like, no, you gotta have a first and last name. Characters like that, people like it's not popular anymore. Everyone is like a real person with a first and last name. I'm like, okay, you guys know better, I guess. I've been doing this for 2 seconds, so I guess I'll listen. Uh, but then whenever I eventually landed on the name Crash Jaxon, obviously, like I didn't want to I wanted to be different. I wanted to try to be different and change the spelling of Jackson. Um, which, whenever people hear me say it, it sounds like there's an S in it. Sorry, guys, I have a lisp. I can't help it. Uh, so does Cody Rhodes. Deal with it. We have lists, but like for the most part, uh, most of the time, like on match graphics and stuff like that, people have spelled it correctly. But there's been like a lot of times where it's been misspelled one way or the other on a graphic, on a lower third, on a stream, or like on a later posted like match like that was filmed or anything like that. And whenever if it's something that happens live or whatever, like on a live stream, I can understand it, whatever. Maybe that slips through the cracks, but like something that's usually like that's been filmed and then edited and then double checked by people before it gets like put out there, whether it be on like YouTube or on socials or anything like that. It's like if my last name still got misspelled, like what like that they may not have meant anything by it, but it's still disrespectful. Especially the straw that broke the camel's back was I was the heavyweight champion at a particular place,
Oh,
and
jeez.
we were doing. I wasn't going to be there for a couple months because of prior obligations for revolver dates. So we were doing a little story where I got jumped and then I was injured, and then the people that jumped me, they stole my title. So then at least the belt would still be featured on the show without me being there. So they were like, this guy was like, "Oh, I'm the champion," da da da, whatever. Um, and then whenever they posted the promo of me, like I was like, because it was we were doing like a neck injury thing or whatever. In the promo, I was selling my neck real heavy and everything, talking about now I need to go see a doctor, need to go see the doctors there, and then I might have to go to the hospital, blah, 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 whatever. But whenever they put the lower third on there, they misspelled my last name. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm like, I'm the heavyweight champion. Like, so like how did this get through? How was this allowed to get posted? It's just it's regardless if it's like done with malice or not, it's disrespectful. It's kind of careless, and like regardless of that, I enjoyed working at that place. Like it was a good time. I had that title for 364 days, so that's a pretty long time. Um, but oddly enough, like 2 weeks prior to that, I was out in Iowa with Sammy, and uh, I was talking about like potentially dropping it, and he was like, "Yeah, do it." And I was like, "You're not
Okay.
like there's you're not going to try to like stop me. You're convince me why I should keep it." He's like, "No, like no one ever no." He's like, "No one calls you Crash Jackson. Everyone just calls you Crash." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right." Like even whenever I'm just out in real world, most people just know me as Crash. I very rarely get referred to by my government name, and that's mostly just by family. So yeah, so 21-year-old Crash is super happy about it, and 33-year-old Crash is also super happy that he can make 21-year-old Crash happy about it.
And like even looking at other wrestlers that are out there now, I mean, for the New England area anyway, there are wrestlers that have first and last names, but they have like one word monikers where it's like Nomi or Flash.
Mm,
And you don't hear them being called like, I mean, well, for Nomi, you do hear her being called Gabby often, but a lot of
mm,
times the chants are
yeah,
Nomi,
yeah,
not Gabby Forza. It's always
yeah,
Nomi. Or before Flash had turned heel
mm,
with Wrestling Open, it was always Flash, not Dustin Waller.
mm, mm,
So even the one the, like even the one word monikers are getting picked up on more than the first and last name wrestlers
yeah.
nowadays.
And I think part of that is it flows. It makes chanting easier because for me, it's a whole lot of dude, or it's crash, crash, and it go like the crash part. It goes with my song because my custom entrance music is it's just a whole lot of dude, and then it's crash, 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 and so like that's kind of like getting people like
Amped up.
into it and like kind of familiarizing them with doing that, especially if it's at a place that I've not been to before. So they kind of get a vibe of who I am as soon as they hear my music.
So why whole lot of dude? What does that actually mean to you?
So funny enough, I was at XWA. Uh, it was myself, Vinny Pacifico, and Kid Bullet in a 6-man tag against the Skulk. And
I feel like I remember this.
one of them was or two of them. I can't remember the third guy's name. I apologize, but one was Leon Ruff, former NXT North American champion.
Yep.
He had been in the business like 2 seconds at that point. Like he was super duper
Yep.
into it. And if I'm not mistaken, Bobby,
Bobby Flacco.
yeah, I can't remember the third guy that was with them, but
I can't
yeah,
remember who the third guy was, but I'm like, I
three
know
AR
AR
Fox.
Fox was with them.
Yeah, because they were AR Fox's kids from
Yeah.
WWA4 down in Atlanta.
That's gonna
And
bug the fuck out of me now, man.
yeah, I'm gonna have to try to go back and find it. But yeah, it was a
Yeah.
6-man. I was the biggest dude in the match. Um, the Skulk kept me out of the ring until I came in on the hot tag, and then I just started like just moving and just bumping them around and moving a lot quicker than what it looks like I should be moving. And I can't remember who was on commentary to save my life right now, but
I'm like
I
Bob
remember.
Whitney, Bobby Rossi, maybe John Roy. I don't know if John Roy did commentary at that point.
I don't remember at all. Like right now, I can't. Like
Yeah.
it'll probably come to me after we're done. But it's right now it's leaving me. But I was moving, just doing my stuff, just being, you know, to me it's normal, like the way that I move and stuff like that. Because I mean, I played football for 12 years, and it's a very explosive, sprinty start stop sport. And wrestling, I feel like it translates really well with wrestling, especially with the style that I've kind of adopted. And on commentary, one of the commentators said, "Well, that's a whole lot of dude right there." And whenever I watched it back, I heard it, and I was like, "Oh, I like that." Because at the time, I was like really struggling to try to come up with a nickname or a moniker or something like that. And then I was like, you know what? Because I was trying to force the animal thing or whatever, and it's just, you know, whenever you try to force stuff, a lot of the times it's not gonna work that well. But then just like a whole lot of dude, it just like it was just so natural and like kind of like off the cuff. And brother probably just said that as kind of just like a off the cuff thing, not even whatever.
Yeah, like, damn,
Thinking
that's
about
a
it,
whole lot of dude.
yeah. And then just I heard it and I was like, oh, that's that's dope. I like that. And so then
And I
I just
figured it
started
out.
rolling with it.
It was Tommy Maserati.
Oh,
I had to look it
okay.
up. It was gonna bug me.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So, what does this new name drop and whole lot of dude version allow you to express that the old version of you couldn't?
I mean, I've been like pretty like myself throughout most of it, but I feel like uh, this version of myself is more. It's a different side of me. Whenever I was kind of doing more like the punk character thing, whenever I was like tagging with Cobain, and we were it started off as the trash punks and then eventually became the punks. That was like one side of like my personality and just who I am as a person. Uh it's very a lot more goofy, kind of like more fun loving kind of sort of thing that especially you could tell whenever I was in the ring with some of my antics with, you know, different things or whatever. But this version of Crash, this version of a whole lot of dude is more of like that, like kind of blue. Like I grew up in a blue collar area, people working in coal mines and factories, and you know, working somewhere till they're for 40 years, and then finally getting to retire and stuff like that, just busting their ass and working hard, and just like not being ashamed of it, and like just, you know, being who they are in your face, and just you gotta deal with it. And I feel like that, along with a few outside influences that I uh, very well relate to, uh, as far as like it really is like molded, but also kind of infused with who I already was as a person. But it kind of gave me I want to say it kind of gave me a better way to express what I was trying to say, whether if I was actually saying anything or not, with just my presentation, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. So, let's get a little bit more into the physical aspect and the moments that helped mold the wrestler or the person that you maybe are today. So, what is a moment in wrestling that maybe completely changed your perspective on your why am I blanking? What is a moment in wrestling that completely changed your perspective on your trajectory in your career?
Um, actually, this came up recently. I want to say about a month ago. I had a memory pop up on my Facebook of uh, a match. It was my debut match at Black Label Pro. I was filling in, I believe, for at the time an injured Brian Keith because he was supposed to wrestle Big Damo, and uh, Revolver and Black Label were getting ready to kind of start having like a little working relationship a little bit at that point in time, and wrestling was kind of like I was doing some cool stuff or whatever, but I don't know, it just felt blah at the time for me. At least it may not have been, but like in my headspace, I that's what I felt like, and I could have just been, imposter syndrome, like I ain't shit, that sort of thing. I just could have been being my own worst hater, sort of thing. And Sammy called me. He was like, "Hey, are you free on this date? I got you a match against Big Damo if you are free." And I'm like, wait, what?
You're like, I don't know
Okay.
if I'm free, but I'm gonna be free.
I'm like, let me check my calendar. Oh, it's open as hell. Yes, I am free. And then like having that match with Big Damo kind of really it changed a lot for me as far as like my perspective and like thoughts on wrestling like a big dude, because I was freshly off of moving from being like kind of like the punk type character, and I was like wearing high waist. I was doing the wearing the high waisted trunks. Um, I was still wearing kick pads at the time, but not for very long after that. Uh, but I learned a lot on how to like wrestle like a big man, because like I'm not the tallest, but also like I've been like a bigger dude like my entire life. So I always tried to shy away from that, especially like early on in wrestling, especially during my punk era. I tried to wrestle like I was 200 pounds, but I was 250 at the time. So like all the crazy running spots and the dives and the lucha, and like I can do it, but I learned that I didn't need to. And a lot of that, like Sammy, once again, he plays a big factor in that as well. But getting to have that match that me and Damo had, it really kind of reinforced some of the things that Sammy had like told me on how to like wrestle like a big dude. Because like Sammy, he whenever he got into the business, he was a big kid as well, and just like me, like he's struggled with his like weight and stuff like that over the years at different times throughout his career. Um, but like all the talks and everything that he would tell me whenever we'd be like in the ring rolling around and stuff like that, like I knew and I absorbed what he was saying, but like it wasn't until like getting to have a big man versus big man match with Damo really kind of solidified it and like made me really comprehend and fully understand what was being said by Sammy, and then a lot of like encouraging words from Damo, not just post match, but like later whenever I like had DM'd him and was like bugging him, asking him stuff, and he graciously and welcomely responded, and like me and him became pretty good friends afterwards. After that, which was awesome. So, uh, yeah, that match with Big Damo really it changed it had a little it was a paradigm shift in my career. Yeah.
So, have you had a moment where you felt like you were finally becoming yourself in wrestling?
um so there's been like different points where like it has happened, but like I was becoming myself at that point in time. Uh whenever during the punks era with me and Cobain being a tag team. Whenever we won the Rockstar Pro Tag Team championships for the first time, like that was like, okay, this was at the time. This felt like who I am. This is who I am as a wrestler. But then move on a little bit down the road, not too far. Uh, Cobain had dealt with a lot of injuries and stuff, and he had moved back to West Virginia, and then eventually he lives in Florida now uh, with his fiance and their kids. Uh, I was getting my first proper like singles run because I'd been a tag team wrestler for at that point most of my career. Because before Cobain, I also had another tag partner whenever I was predominantly in Kentucky, and he used to go by Hoscat Big Henry, and then Hoscat Bad Henry, and then Henry Shaw. He'd been like in the business for like 20 years, so like he had kept like it changing and stuff. And we were a tag team called Controlled Chaos, um, and so that was we tagged together and stuff and traveled a lot for the first like 5 years of my career. And then me and Cobain were tag partners for two and a half years or so, maybe a little less, give or take. So like the first seven and a half years of my career, at that point, I'd been predominantly just a tag team wrestler, and that's fine. Some people are just better at being in a tag team, and that's okay because the business needs people like that. People they need people that are tag team wrestlers. They need people that are singles wrestlers. They need people that are really good at comedy. They need people that are really good at doing hardcore stuff. They need people that are really good at talking. They need people that are just really good at just going in the ring with all the whatever. They need like people who are really good at like slow, steady pace matches. So like that's a great thing about wrestling is just like there's just there's so many roles that can and need to be filled, and so like everyone can eventually find their place. Um, but then whenever I started, uh, after I had that match with Big Damo, that was another kind of like shift where I'm like, okay, this is me. Boom, this is who I am as a wrestler now. And then uh, whenever I had my injury, I had like a realization because like I know I'm not in I knew I wasn't indestructible, but after going so many years of wrestling and then playing sports my whole life and never really having a serious injury, you begin to like low key believe it, even though you know you're not. So like whenever something like that happens, it's just like it's kind of it's a blow to the ego for sure. Um, and I didn't think I would be able to come back from that, especially with the style that I wrestle and just the way that I wrestle. Because like it's been 2 years and I still don't have like all of the strength in my left forearm yet. But I mean that's still gonna take time. Uh, but then after I came back from injury, and then I had a few matches, and then I was still in a weird headspace with stuff about just like questioning myself in wrestling, and my mom was going through cancer treatment at the time, and she lives all the way in Florida. I'm up here in Dayton, Ohio, and like it's just it's like it was just a lot. Freshly coming off injury, and then I won the Revolver Remix Championship, and that was a little bit of a shift, but it wasn't until after I had my defense against Trey Miguel in Iowa. Uh, that was like a breath of fresh air for myself, and I feel like that like kind of changed things for me again. And then I feel like it feels like every so often, like I'm having these kind of like a little bit of like shifts and changes in attitude or whatever it might be to for like my wrestling persona to shine through who I am as a person, if that makes any sense.
You know,
Especially
definitely.
especially after like the last like couple of months. Like I feel like it's been another shift. But I think it's good to have that because then uh, it hopefully no one's told me any different, but I feel like at least like what I'm putting out is fresh, at least fresh for me for like what I'm doing in the ring with like matches and whatever it might be promos, whatever I'm posting on socials or just anything like that. So, until someone tells me like, "Hey man, you got to change that shit up." I feel like I'm staying fresh with the things that I'm putting out there.
So, what is a version of yourself that you feel you've completely outgrown?
Uh, I wouldn't say that I've even like outgrown any of it because every iteration of Crash, even the Golden Tank, like those those parts of me, like they are still a part of me. Uh, they're just not being utilized at the moment. Kind of like a utility belt, like Batman's utility belt. He's got all of his different gadgets and things or whatever, and I think unless it was anything problematic, uh, I feel like uh, I could always go back and uh, kind of draw from those things for inspiration because old is new. Here and there, people love good callback or good throwback on stuff, especially if people that's been like if they've been following me for a long time. If I bring something back, whether it be a merch design or something, So I don't feel like I don't think I've outgrown any part of me. I just feel like they're just in my tool belt, just waiting for me to pull out bits and pieces whenever I need to use them, if I need to use them.
So, what parts of your wrestling are you actively trying to improve?
Uh, Cardio, the biggest one. I want to be able to go as long as possible, if needed, because sometimes stuff happens and you have to try to stretch a match longer. Uh, I want to like everyone has like something that they're really good at in wrestling, and I want my thing that I'm really good at in wrestling is to be able to have chemistry with anyone that I'm in the ring with, because then I should be able to have a good match with anybody, regardless of skill level or how many years they've been in or how many matches they've had or whatever style they particularly or usually work. Like a good person that I draw inspiration from that is Jake Christ. He can wrestle any style, every style, and he does that any and every style really well. And he's a big inspiration for that. And there's a reason why he's been doing this for as long as he has.
So, one thing that I find interesting about you is that your whole life doesn't revolve around wrestling. Like, wrestling's not your entire identity. You've got your gaming, your content creation, fitness, streaming, and a bunch of other interests. But which hobby of yours makes you lose track of time the fastest?
uh, Lifting weights and playing video games. Those are the top two for sure. Because I can plan to go to the gym and only be there for an hour, but then I look at my workout tracking app and it says, "Oh, I've been here for I started this workout an hour and 45 minutes ago." I'm like, "What the hell happened?" And I'm just sometimes I'm just like feeling it instinctively. Like I'll add more sets, I'll add an extra exercise. Uh, that may not be optimal uh, at some point, but sometimes you're just kind of in a zone and you just get grooving. Same with video games, like my PS5 is sitting right here. I'm talking to you from my built PC. I have an iPad sitting right here. There's a Nintendo Switch Lite up here on this top shelf. So I mean, like, uh, I'm surrounded by my video games, and they're a big reason why I'm if I'm ever late for something or if I'm not getting enough sleep. If I'm not getting enough sleep, it's usually because I was up playing video games. Or if I'm late for something, it's probably because I was at the gym. So yeah, definitely working out and playing video games are the easiest things that I can lose track of time.
And what community outside of wrestling has impacted you the most?
Um, hmm, that's a good question. Um, I mean, there's like so many that like I'm really kind of like a part of. Um, I spend a lot of time consuming Dungeons and Dragons content and playing Dungeons and Dragons sort of stuff. So like all of my tabletop nerds uh, knows how that goes. Because normally I would be playing Dungeons and Dragons right now, but we couldn't meet this week because a few of our people are out of town. So, and this is a 3 year long campaign that we've been in.
Oh, jeez.
I've just learned like a couple weeks ago that it wasn't supposed to last this long, but uh, you know, stuff happens. Sometimes people's schedules get conflicted, and we are like we don't play for like a month or so at a time sometimes, but then sometimes we'll play for like several weeks in a row, and that's the best. But the just the Dungeons and Dragons community for sure is like it's impacted me a lot because it's helped with creativity, like trying to think outside of the box. Not everything has to be kind of like straightforward to everything. We can go this way, we can go that way. We can turn around, go back there, then go this way. And it's and once again, it's another kind of parallel with wrestling because wrestling doesn't always go
It's
as
not always
planned.
linear.
It's not always linear. It doesn't go as planned. It's not. It doesn't go the way you think it's going to go or the way you had hoped it would. So uh, it's I don't know. Everything parallels with wrestling or anime.
All right. Let's finish this interview off the right way with a few personality questions. So you are on the road and you get the opportunity of a lifetime to have a crash value meal at any fast food joint. Where are we going with it and what comes in the meal?
Ooh. Um. Well, now, currently, I would have packed my food because I've been on a pretty strict meal plan for like 2.5 months now. But before this, uh, if I was like grabbing Taco Bell, I'm getting some. I go in like waves, with stuff at Taco Bell. It depends because like sometimes they'll have stuff like they have their nuggets. Like they'll bring those and they'll have them for a little bit and they'll take them away and they'll bring them back. So like if the nuggets are out, I'm getting because they're delicious. If they're not around, sometimes you can't go wrong with just a classic like a few classic just soft tacos. Uh, but also like beefy 5 layer burritos are there too. Uh, but that's if Taco Bell. But like if I'm getting like Wendy's or something, I'm just getting like a Baconator for sure.
Sounds
Or
about right.
McDonald's, I'm getting like if I don't get nuggets, then I'm getting like 4 McChickens, cheese and ketchup only.
All right.
Yeah.
If you could enter any video game world and be any type of character, what video game would you enter and what type of character would you be?
That's a tough one. Oh my god.
I know I gotta hit you with a video game question.
Uh, that could very easy. I so like I could like go into like any of the Final Fantasy games or Baldur's Gate 3 or any of like the Dragon Ball games or Kingdom Hearts. Those are like my my top for sure. But currently, if I had to pick one, I would probably say like Baldur's Gate 3 for sure. And I would probably be actually I know I would be a barbarian for sure.
All right.
Second would be a fighter. That's just knowing myself as a person.
All right. So, what is the most ridiculous rabbit hole you have ever fallen down on the internet?
Oh, um, the "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" videos.
Oh my god.
Me and my buddies found those on YouTube, and we were like, "What the hell is this?" And so like we like started watching them. We watched them in order, and then we were like, is there another one?" And so like literally like every time like we would like have like reminders on our phones, and like we would meet up at someone's house so we could watch them.
Oh
And
my
like
god.
we were like looking up like the conspiracies on like what were like the secret meanings of the different things that we saw in the videos or whatever. And like we were rewatching like, oh, you see this, and like just like like Charlie Day with the from It's Always Sunny, or like with all of the stuff and the yarn, and that's pretty much what we were doing. Like we had a whiteboard, and we were like time and
Now,
all
were you like
this or
middle
whatever.
school aged or high school aged when you found these?
High school.
Yeah, I was gonna say I found them like early high school, and those videos traumatized the fuck out of me.
They were trippy, but also like the stuff that we grew up seeing on the internet at that point in time, like was pretty.
Yeah, we had some pretty
That
weird
was pretty
shit.
tame, but it was still like odd.
Yeah, like there was oh fuck. There was like a squirrel cartoon that was out too around that time.
Was
Fuck,
it
I
Happy Tree Friends or something?
no, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Hmm.
Cause that was like Charlie the Unicorn had already came
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
All that stuff was out. I gotta look this up.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you watch Dropout. They have the
No.
don't. They don't have the don't. They have the "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" videos on their platform.
It
So
was Foamy the Squirrel. That's what it was.
that sounds vaguely familiar.
And from Neurologically Yours.
Hmm. Hmm.
You was gonna say that
Interesting.
was another one that freaked me out. I didn't watch that one very often.
There was probably more, but like the "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" rabbit hole is definitely like the first one that comes to mind for sure.
All right. What piece of media, whether it be a book, a movie, a TV show, an album, would you defend way harder than you probably should?
Uh, that Dragon Ball, just the whole series is the greatest anime of all time, and it inspired most animes that came after it, and also like the weakest Z Warriors solo most of these other places, the entire universe. Fight me, I don't care.
So being an anime nerd, if you can't pick Dragon Ball Z, and I'm gonna pull the other big one away too. You can't pick Naruto either.
Oh, I'm not in. I couldn't get into Naruto.
All right.
I
What
tried,
what
and I couldn't get into it.
what would you say is like maybe your like top 3 animes?
Uh, without Dragon Ball,
Yeah, without Dragon Ball.
um, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, and even though they're newer, they're still like pretty dope. It's a tie between My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer.
I'm a Demon Slayer girl all the way. I love Demon Slayer.
It's good. I'm behind on it though. I'm behind on all of my anime watching. I go, I kind of go on rabbit holes with other stuff, and I'll watch like one thing. I'll
Yep.
like be on that for
It's
like
the ADHD, man.
yeah.
You get fixated on one thing and you like have to finish it before you move on.
And the sad thing is like the current things that I am watching, like a lot of the stuff on YouTube I'm currently watching, there's nothing to finish because they're uploading like multiple videos of their stuff like weekly, and like I'm like late to watching it, so like there's a huge backlog of stuff for me to watch also.
Yep.
So
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I hopped on the Grey's Anatomy train super, super late in life, and I'm
oh,
only at like season 4, and I'm like, I'm bored now. I don't want to finish watching this, but
there's so much.
I'm like so stubborn, and I'm like, I have to finish watching this, and I won't watch anything else. But like, the new season of The Boys came out, and then the new season of
Mhm.
Euphoria came out. So I watched those because I know those were short. But now I'm like, I gotta get back into Grey's Anatomy, and I'm like dreading it.
I got through. They have the entire series of Law and Order SVU on Peacock,
Yep.
and I got through. I watched 13 seasons before I finally started watching something else. And like I would get up and just like watch that. I would watch like 5 episodes a day and then go do whatever for the rest of the day. And then like I would finish and watch like 2 more episodes before I went to bed.
Yeah, that was
Like
my COVID show. I watched the whole series.
my COVID show was Community because I had never watched it before.
Huh.
And now it's one of my all-time favorites.
All right. So, last one. You are on a car ride. You're coming back to New England, but on the way, you are only allowed to listen to 5 bands or artists. Who are we listening to?
Okay. Am I the only one in the car?
There's other people in the car, but you're the one in control of the music.
Oh. Well, most people know that like if I'm in control of the music, I'm usually playing stuff that kind of appeases everyone. Which if they're in the car with me, we all probably have similar music tastes for the most part anyway.
All right, well, you're
Um,
stuck in the car with me and you have no idea what my music taste is, so it's up to you.
okay, so the first one of the first songs that will get played on the road trip will either be some Panic at the Disco or Backstreet
Yes.
Boys.
All right.
I'll definitely throw in some like Breaking Benjamin in there as well because they're like one of my all-time favorite bands. Um, man, that's a tough one. I mean, that's three right there. I can't go wrong with Linkin Park. Um, and final spot for that, if I could only choose five artists to listen to, then I would probably go with Magnolia Park.
Ooh, those are some great choices.
I'm in my pop punk emo boy era because I didn't have it in high school like everybody else did.
Yeah, I definitely hit that phase like probably 8th grade, and it was never a phase. I'm still in it.
Hey, that's fair. I probably will be in this forever. Like, I mean, I still listen to other genres of music and stuff,
Yeah.
but like, my Instagram is constantly feeding me new bands and new songs, and I'm ooh, that's catchy. Let me go download that real
Yep.
quick. And
Like if
it
I
could just be the one song from that artist, but I'm like, I have a playlist on my music, on my Apple Music.
yeah, like I use YouTube Music and like it gives me like 6 different playlists cuz I 7 different playlists cuz I listen to so many different genres, but if I hit like the one big playlist that gives everything,
It's called Better Late Than Never. The name of the
huh.
play I titled it.
But like my playlist goes from like a little bit of rap, A Day to Remember, a little bit of hip hop, MGK, a little bit more hip hop, EDM, Paramore, Falling in Reverse, Bring Me the Horizon, We the Kings. Like it goes all over the place, but there's so much like little pop punk or like a
Mhm.
little bit of metal influences in there.
If I could add one more, if we could add a sixth, I would choose the Greatest Showman soundtrack
Oh hell yeah.
or Hamilton. That's
Yes.
also good. That's also a great soundtrack.
Yes. I, I I'm a Hamilton nerd myself, so I have to ask, what is your favorite song from Hamilton? I know it's a hard decision.
I don't know if I could choose one. This would be an easier question if it was about the Greatest Showman because that I watch that way more regularly. It's like my comfort watch. Um, damn, for Hamilton, I don't know. All of them are so good. They're
I'm
so
like
good.
I'm like I have mine in my head, but I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank as well.
I know it's one of Burr's songs.
Oh yeah. Um, another musical, Anna and the Apocalypse. They have a lot. It has a lot of catchy songs.
Oh,
If you've not seen that one,
I have not.
it's it seems like a standard like high school musical, but then about 30 minutes in, it takes a very hard left, and it's like zombie apocalypse. It's
Oh,
awesome. It's
all
awesome,
right.
and the songs are super catchy too.
All right. Well, with all of that being said, we are going to move into the very last segment of the show that I like to call promo roulette.
Woo-hoo.
All right. So, roulette is a little segment where I have my guest shoot a promo on the spot on a random cartoon character chosen by me. And I'm definitely gonna hit us right in the childhood with this one. I'm gonna go with Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls.
Mojo Jojo. Okay. I can't remember. Was he just trying to take over the city that they were in, or was he trying to take over the world? Because like sometimes like they have like I don't know. Because like some of these cartoons, like in Phineas and Ferb, the scientist, he only wants to take over that one city. He doesn't want to take
Yeah,
over the world.
the tri-state area.
Yeah, like so. It
I'm like, is it the? I'm like, I want to say it might just be the metropolis, but it could be the world.
okay.
I'm definitely gonna look that up just to be accurate. Okay, yeah, take over the world.
Mhm. Okay. Listen here, Mojo Jojo. You think you took just because you took over Metropolis and you stopped the Powerpuff Girls, you think you can take over the rest of the world? Uh-uh. Not with a whole lot of dude Crash here to stop you. I want to hit you with that Nat 20, drop you on that stupid head of yours with that stupid helmet, crack it wide open, and save the world, buddy. And you're gonna learn why I'm a whole lot of dude.
All right. Well, thank you for that. That is everything that I got for you today. So, with that being said, where can we find you in the near future if you have any upcoming shows? And if you are not in our area, where can we keep up with you on social media?
Well, I'm not gonna be. I don't have anything planned for the Northeast at at this moment. I would like to at some point.
I got people
Uh,
that watch from all over. You never know where my viewers are from.
that's true. That's true. So this weekend I'm going to be in Bellefontaine, Ohio, doing some. It's the summertime, so we're doing some fair shows. On Sunday we are doing a benefit show for our homeboy MB Funk that recently passed away. And then the following weekend, I will be at the Wrestling Revolver here in Dayton, Ohio, and I'm going for the Revolver Scramble Championship against Big Pound Fulton, aka Dreadnought, and Troy Parker. Uh, so that is going to be one hell of a slobber knocker, and you'll be able to watch that one live on YouTube on the Wrestling Revolver's YouTube channel. And if you happen to miss any of those and you want to try to catch me anywhere else where I might be, maybe if I might be in your area, you just got to check the socials at W.L.D. Crash on all the socials. And no, W.L.D. isn't short for wild. Wild is already a short enough word. It's short for a whole lot of dude. Uh, the social medias won't let me put the periods in between the letters to let you know that it's an acronym.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Crash.
Thanks for having me.
Especially last minute. It just happened to work out.
Yep. Yeah.
But with that being said, we will be back in probably about 15, 20 minutes with Mr. Bobby Buffet.
Woo.
And with that being said, since I've totally forgotten to do it for the first two episodes, for this episode, the giveaway winner is drumroll. I'm not going to do it on my laptop, and it's not going to make the sound in my microphone. This is going to a Syndicate Network. Congrats to you. You won yourself a free Sammy Callahan. With that being said, we will be back very shortly with another episode of Smoke and Meteoras. Thank you all for viewing. Thank you to Crash for joining us, and we will be back very shortly.